million
That's how you know.
%.
That's how you know you've done it. Now you've done it.
No, I've done it.
No, you've done it.
It's a vacation.
Yeah.
Sure.
No.
Sure.
I felt like I was on vacation on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And for the 2 hours before they closed the pool that I was able to be there on Saturday.
It's a bold play at a resort in
And
the middle of
that's it.
summer to shut down a pool, the only pool.
And it's not a big pool.
It's not a big pool.
And there are not many seats.
No. It's a yeah. So it was for a wedding or something? That's why they shut it down?
That's what they said. That was the word on the street. Yeah.
Boy, that had to be a hefty price paid to
I would imagine
shut down
so.
a pool
I would,
on a Saturday in summer.
Especially when they're cranking out $20 drinks.
Yeah.
And it's like a machine.
Yeah.
And it's really we'll be honest, it's really a $24 drink.
Yeah.
Because and it's actually really a $25 drink because you're automatically getting hit with a 20% service charge.
I remember
and
being,
the taxes.
I remember there being a dish. It was like service charge plus, and then it was like a line for additional gratuity.
I'm good.
We're good.
We're good.
I think we're good. You're getting your 20.
20 on drinks? Listen.
Tipping is out of control right now.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I was just somewhere last week where I picked up something. It wasn't a place where it was like they do. It was like this is all they do is pick up. I can't remember where it was, and it was like tip, and I'm like, I don't know what to do here. Like I don't feel like this is a tippable service. You're handing me food I paid for. You're not waiting on me. You're not getting me an extra iced tea. You're not making me an old fashioned.
No.
Like you're just handing me food that I'm picking up.
See,
Why
I have
am I
less of a
tipping
problem
on
with
that?
that. For some reason, I don't know. I always do something on a takeout.
I do too, but it just hit me. It
seems
was
weird.
like, what am I doing?
What I don't like is now any fast food restaurant you go to, Starbucks.
Yeah.
If you cannot pay before going through a screen where it's like, tip me.
It was a juice place.
Yeah. See,
It was a juice place.
That's crazy.
It was a juice
Yeah.
place.
Was that
I
the
was
smoothie pulp? Were you
picking
pulp
up
maybe?
picking up a smoothie.
Yeah.
And it was like tip on a juice.
Well, the hard thing is
You're
comes
taking
up on
it out
the screen.
and here, it comes up on the screen. It's like 10, 18, 20, 25. Why stop there? Go 50%. Let's tip 50% of the purchase.
And then I don't know. And then I feel like they're watching me. Of
course they are. I feel bad.
I'm always like, okay, fine,
And I always go over.
And I think this is crazy.
I always go over because I don't want it to be like on the 1 billion% chance.
Somebody's like, yeah, that
chance.
a real crud.
That guy's a crud. I
Yeah,
can't
totally.
have that.
Same.
So I always got. I feel like I got to go over.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, that's where
I like the days of going to Subway or Taco Bell and
That's it.
we
That's
all
the
knew
price.
the deal. This is
That's
the
the
price.
deal. That's the way it works.
And I'm ordering it.
Clubs are doing this now, where they're doing a percentage of the is the automatic, but then it says and then additional, and I'm like, my vote on that is whatever it's like LD. Whatever you want it to be. Like there was a Curb episode of this. Was it Black
About
Swan or
additional
one
tip.
of those? The additional tip. Whatever you want the number to be, put it on there. Like you want me to tip them 22%? Fine. Build it in. But don't then come at me with additional tip.
No.
I don't want to do math.
And I don't. No.
Whatever it is, I'm fine with it. Just make it so.
Like it used to be. It used to be that 15% was standard.
Yeah.
And then 20% was really good.
Really
service.
good.
Like you're like, I want you to know how much I appreciate
That's
what
right.
you've done.
Yep.
Now 20% is like the minimum.
Minimum. Yeah, it's a jumping off point. It's 20%. It's wild what's happened.
Good thing I don't have a great vertical. It's a jumping off point. I'm like, I jump too far from it. I don't have a great vertical.
So the one weakness in your game.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely was.
Definitely.
So aside from the non-vacation vacation, I asked you this a lot. I think it was Friday. And, at that point we hadn't seen him in pads. And I think we actually talked to Jake about it. And I understand that you're not going to get a real answer to this. You're never going to get it. There's no such thing as a conclusive answer to if this worked or not. So what I'm curious about is, did the vibe feel like it worked? By the time you guys hop on a plane Sunday, was it like that was a great week?
So
for the people who matter most.
What I would
players.
say is this, and I've talked to many members of the front office. I talked to many of the players, and I've talked to many of the coaches. All of them, from a football standpoint, were thrilled with it. So my guess is this is not the last time that we will do this.
Yeah.
Everybody was very happy. They felt like they got exactly what they wanted out of it. Focus on football, focus on, bonding and team building, although we did have a bit of a fracas at the end of the final
Can we
practice.
make a little fun of this? I mean, can we have a little bit of fun
Okay.
with it?
So
Or
hold
can
on.
I have a little fun with it if you feel like it's
I can have fun with it
Okay.
as well. We both can. I thought that, they think they got exactly what they wanted out of it.
Okay.
So from the football side of it,
Yeah.
in terms of this week in isolation, and it's hard to say that this week is really going to have a bearing on anything per se, like to directly correlate whatever success or lack we
that
have
was my
to this
point on Friday.
is
It
gonna
was
be-
like,
it's difficult, but what they went there to do,
That's it.
they feel like they accomplished it.
that's what I was curious about, because yes, I think it's absolute nonsense to think that if we start 4-0, it's because we went to the Greenbrier, or if we start 0-4, it's because we went to the Greenbrier. They are not connected.
Correct.
In my opinion, it's just a matter of there was a purpose for this.
Yes.
And it was an extra long camp. Let's keep it fresh. Let's isolate. Let's bond. Let's do all of those things. And was the feeling that, because you could have got on those planes Sunday and you'd know, and you'd have a certain way with scores of telling us the real truth on it.
Yeah.
You would know that if it was like, man, that didn't land.
No.
that's not what we wanted.
No.
And it
They-
turned. That's why. That's
The
what I was-
opposite.
Yeah.
They felt like it very much landed. Incredible undertaking. Huge tip of the cap to logistics staff, to Brad Melland and the equipment staff for basically bringing Berea there. But no, people very much felt like this was exactly what they wanted it to be.
So that, to me,
So
is
that feels
huge.
like a win. And
yeah,
that
it's
feels
huge.
like, we're going to get. I'll say this. The level of intensity that they gave at a 9 a.m. practice on Sunday was one of the best practices. The defense was feisty and fired up and had a great day. I think that said it all right there. Like, just the buy-in that you had that on the travel day to get the quality of work you did at 9 a.m. out of these guys, I think spoke a lot to just how bought in they were and just how successful ultimately the week was. Now, we can talk about the fracas. I was upstairs along with Assistant General Manager Glenn Cook, great friend of the program.
Great friend of the program. Yeah.
So there were a bunch of corporate partners that had come in on Saturday, and they were there Sunday, and we came up and did kind of like a 15-minute, kind of speech, Q&A.
State of the state.
State of the state with Glenn and I. And, they're watching practice, but I think, like, people who, if you don't, like, really know football or care that much, like, you don't really know what you're watching. You're watching a football practice, but you don't know, like, really what you're looking for, whatever. But one thing that everybody can agree is typically exciting is a bit of a fracas.
Yeah.
And so that was a hit upstairs. That was people were like, okay, all
like
right,
that.
now that people are locked in. So from my angle, because I was upstairs, it appeared to me that Obo said something to Hudson. I have now seen the tape that he gave him a little, what did 5 fingers say to the face? Slap.
Yep.
Because I saw him, like, run away, and you could almost feel him, like, smiling through his helmet. Like, like it was almost like a little brother had just, like, gotten one over on a big brother type of situation. And he was running, and then I saw James Hudson, like, take off, and I'm like, he's not messing around. He's not laughing as much as Obo is laughing in this moment. Yeah. And then I saw him going, like, uh-oh. That's what I said a lot. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I know, he kind of, like, leaps and throws like a haymaker into a helmet.
Always question that.
Not great. Now, good. Fortunately for him, that they now have to wear the
padded things,
extra shell on there, so that his hand is not punching incredibly hard plastic and run the risk of breaking your hand and then missing a lot of time.
Yep.
So obviously, no harm, no foul from that standpoint, but also not smart because you can't do that in a game.
No.
That's you're out. We'll see you down the road and 15 yards. And that's what Stefanski was mad at. But I don't know how much they even really saw of it, because then they got to practice right again, and then Obo again got into it, and this time it was with Tyrone Wheatley. They end up, like, down, and then Tyrone Wheatley, something happened in the pile. Hopefully he's okay, but he had to hobble off after that with the trainers. And then at that point, Stefanski said, I've had it.
It's enough.
You're going to run gassers.
Yep.
And they did. And then he brought them together, players only, nobody else. He gave them a little bit of the business. He walked off, and then Miles, to his credit, got up there and, like, read the riot act, and it was awesome. I don't know exactly what he said, but I could feel what he said and hear the volume at which he spoke. And then Joel Bitonio followed Miles, and I couldn't hear anything, but I could see a lot of people nodding. Miles is very demonstrative, and like he's really kind of trying to take that leadership role on. And he told us on Training Camp Insider, and you can get all this stuff at the YouTube channel. You can get our full kind of breakdowns of all the practices. The new Unleashed came out, all at youtube.com/Browns or the Browns mobile app. But it was cool to see him kind of take that. He said, it's not natural for me. I'm like working on it, and
but good for him
and with this, as it comes to like, wanting to be the swaggiest defense, is like being swaggy is not my natural style. He said, so I'm faking it right now until I make it, but he's going with it. But anyway, so once I saw the videos, I was
dying.
Probably
the funniest training camp fight, the first one with Hudson and Obo, that I've ever seen.
So how did you see it through your eyes? What did you see?
So I just saw the one video. I saw it on social, and I just saw the one video of it, and I just saw this and then a sprint, and I thought, this is unbelievable.
I feel like Bootsy. That's a Bootsy move.
A total Bootsy move on one of the older ones. Sneak in, get a slap, and then mom, sprint, laughing because he got away with it. So I was dying at it. So I didn't see the second one. I didn't see that video of the second one. I just saw the
I don't know
first
if there
one.
is.
And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But that was the only one I saw, and I was just dying laughing. I think it was one of the funniest training camp fights I've ever seen, the first one.
Yeah. So they had been going at it in one-on-ones, and Obo had an incredible week.
Yeah.
Glenn actually said that the guy that has impressed him the most that week was Obo.
Yeah.
His speed, his ability to get to the quarterback, all that. So apparently they had been going at it in one-on-ones, and our great photographer, Starkey, said, these guys, I have a feeling these guys are going to, like, at some point they are going to brawl.
Oh, it was headed in that direction.
20 minutes earlier. So that's one-on-ones, and you get to the team period, and there it was.
Well, you're hitting the same guy over and over again for 7 days or whatever, and you're in this remote place, and it's gonna. I mean, Travis Kelce fought two people yesterday at Chiefs camp, so like, this stuff happens, But I thought it was great. So that was a funny viral moment.
Did I send you Travis Kelce from his podcast with his brother telling the funniest joke he's ever heard? It was actually Jason Kelce told it, which was what Rookie did it at the talent show when Doug Peterson was the coach of the Eagles.
No.
All right, we'll watch that in the break.
All right.
Seek that out, listeners.
Seek it. Find it. Seek and ye shall find. It was what was I going? Oh, the other moment. Two moments I saw from a video standpoint over the weekend. So that was the first one that was funny. The second one was the throw from Watson to Chief
over JOK.
Over JOK. That the ball fit in the size of a pinhole.
Yeah.
That was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
He made a lot of wow throws while we were up there. Our defense is very good.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in the red zone, they're very good.
Well, we won't know until Philly. Then we'll know.
Yeah. I think they're good.
It feels like it, but then, it's really not until you see Philly that you know.
Well, one of the
where
things
it all
that's,
stacks.
again, and people always say, well, how come, the offense was so good in the field? How come they were struggling in the red zone? So, well, like, we only have so many things in our playbook in the red zone.
Yeah.
And so many splits and route combinations. And, like, at some point, the defense is very aware of what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I noticed that. And we're not – it's not like we're scheming or you're trying to get your stuff
work.
in.
You're putting in work.
But there were plenty of times where I was in the end zone in the red zone period where it was like watching Weddle when they were like, okay, he's doing – like you knew that they knew. And offense would beat him sometimes anyway because the execution was that good. But
it's funny to me as you say that something that you combat in youth sports is like you're trying to put in work, and the scout team or the team that's providing the opposition to the work is cheating it, and you're yelling at them like, you idiots, we know that you know the offense. It's all of our offense. Stop it. We're trying to put in work. And it happened. Stefanski's doing the same thing every practice. They do the same thing. Professionals, all because you can't.
Right.
You can't help but not. You can't act like you don't know. Right. So that's the way it works. And so it's just funny to hear you say that, because basically what he's dealing with is the same thing every youth coach deals with. That part doesn't change, kids, even as the salary gets bigger and bigger and the importance of it gets bigger and bigger.
Well, one of the best things was listening to the Hoff talk about the fact that in the Mike Pettin, Kyle Shanahan's first year in 2014, Pettin wanted the dominant defense to be so dominant he would like be corner blitzing into the outside zone, knowing the script of Kyle's play. So then Kyle, about halfway through that training camp, after finally getting like completely fed up with it and starting to get like really pissed, wouldn't give the defense his script anymore. And then all of a sudden the offense started doing a lot better.
I bet they did.
Yeah.
I bet they did. So we have not talked since we had a big practice on Saturday, big practice on Sunday. We did 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s. We did all sorts of physicality. What were some of the highlights for you
from Saturday?
The weekend.
Well, let me go to.
And I know that we can watch that on the.
Let me go Saturday. Here you go.
Look at the copious. We get copious notes.
We have every play. Every single play.
Give me some themes.
Okay, so themes. We'll start in one-on-ones. DPJ, every route he ran was a touchdown, and he created incredible separation. I think he looks great. Njoku, the one where he jumped in the net. Have you seen that highlight?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so he did great. Dalen Baldwin continues to play well. I think Thomas Graham had a nice camp for himself, the cornerback, the slot corner. So that was there. And then the great battle between Elijah and Denzel, where Denzel probably wins that rep, but Elijah does catch the ball, which is incredible that the ball got in there.
Yeah, it felt like people didn't understand. Like Denzel covered that perfectly. It just so happened that you cannot cover that. You cannot mirror that route any better than Denzel Ward mirrored that route, and he's probably one of 5 people in the planet who could mirror that route that way, because that is one of his gifts is to mirror. But it is also almost equally as stupefying that somehow Elijah Moore caught the ball.
Yes.
That was nuts.
And in a team situation, he's not running back around to the middle and scoring. That was not a touchdown.
No.
But nonetheless, that was awesome. The competition really was the theme of the weekend. There would be offense would dominate this period or day. Defense would come back the next day, and they would dominate. So you had that back and forth. Nick Chubb continues to look incredible. When he runs, his ability to kind of get through those creases, and then his acceleration when you're standing there on the sidelines is just wild. I thought Kellen Mond had his best practice as a Cleveland Brown by like a wide margin on Saturday.
Okay.
And I think DTR looked great whenever he was given opportunities. On Sunday, he probably had the best day of any quarterback Sunday. And I think it's going to be fun. I think that's a great battle for the number 3 spot. And I think that, DTR is obviously, would maybe be the favorite, but Kellen Mond is not going to go down without a fight. And Kellen Mond's for those who don't know,
he's a really good player at Texas A&M. Played for 4 years. I'm pretty sure he played all 4 years for them. Started forever there. Was a high pick of the Vikings.
Yeah, 3rd-round pick. He was 32-14 as a starter at Texas A&M, 3-0 in bowl games. He's the all-time Texas A&M leader in passing touchdowns, passing yards, total offense, and he's tied with John Football for total touchdowns. Was the Senior Bowl MVP. He's 7th all-time in SEC total yards. 8th is Peyton Manning. He's one of 3 quarterbacks in SEC history to throw for 9,000 yards and rush for 1,500. The others are Tebow and Dak. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he started there. I'm pretty sure he started for 4 years. Yeah, 5-star, number 1 dual-threat quarterback in the country coming out. His best year, though, you look in the NFL, that's the thing, completion percentage. His best year in the SEC was 63% completion, was his best season throwing it. So, but he looked good there, and I think, that's going to be the story of this Hall of Fame game, right? Is going to be – I don't think you'll see Dobbs or Watson. My guess is
I don't need to.
I think you'll see Kellen Mond start.
I will say that
you'll see DTR.
My wish, and I've said this many times on the Hall of Fame game, and even when we're not involved in it, is since it is the first that America gets to see football, I wish that the guys would play the first, like the guys, even a series. But I know it's not going to happen. Yeah. It's not us that started this, but 15 years ago they would play a series.
Yep.
Like you'd get one series of Peyton Manning if they were in the Hall of Fame game. Like it's in Canton. It's Hoff weekend, and it wouldn't kill you to play a series. It's been for a long time. It's been agreed upon that no one does that. It's probably been a decade where nobody's played anybody. But that used to be the point where you'd get a series of a starter.
Yeah,
and I think that I wish they'd go back to that.
It would be fun just to see Watson and Aaron Rodgers take the field. You're right. But, for these guys, what's cool about it is that you have people who are actually playing for something, because every play will matter to Kellen Mond and to Dorian Thompson-Robinson and the guys that are out there.
We have 2 young quarterbacks to watch, which is fun.
And young receivers and all of that. I think if you were going to, offensive key takeaways, Watson looks like Watson. David Njoku looks like an absolute monster. Unfortunately, Jalen Darden, who was having a great camp, got hurt on Saturday, left, and had his leg wrapped on Sunday, and he was not walking. Like sometimes, people are out with hammies, and you see him walking, you're like, oh, they look like they're totally fine. He did not look like he was totally fine. And then defensively, it's just how our front is going to be so dominant, our back end can cover. Our linebackers, I think, are going to have the opportunity to make more plays. Kunasha continues to shine. Mohamed Diabate, I think, took a real step forward, and I know we'll probably get into more kind of details as these things go on. But overall, what I came away from this is a very talented football team, which we knew. It is very competitive. I, like you, am very much looking forward to that barometer set of practices against the Philadelphia Eagles is really a sense for me. I know AB said it's not a barometer to him. I'll use it as a barometer to see where we stand, and then to kind of go from there. But I think we have a very good football team. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. Potential to make it even better. The Browns are hosting defensive tackle Shelby Harris, and I think, with the loss of Perrion, that is one area where you could use another dude.
32-year-old guy, right? He was with the Raiders, been around, would certainly be somebody who...
And he knows how to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what you like about it. He knows how to get to the quarterback. I mean, we have one truly proven commodity in that room right now. Let's just be totally honest about it. Shelby Harris would immediately make that a second proven commodity. He's got, in the last 4 seasons, 16.5 sacks. He's got 24.5 for his career. He just knows how to get to the quarterback. He knows how to put pressure on. He's great knocking balls down the line of scrimmage as well, 29 PBUs in his career. He's a veteran that will give you some great snaps in terms of the rotation that we would play. Like, counting on Jordan Elliott, and they like him, and they do believe the arrow's pointing up, but last year, out of the 57 defensive tackles who played half their snaps, he was graded 57th out of 57 at Pro Football Focus. Now, different scheme, better suited to his skills, but Dalvin Thompson was like 11th. That's really good. We need to get another guy at that level, and hopefully Elliott will ascend. But Shelby Harris, I think, would be a very nice add to this football team, and it's one of the things we speculated on for such a long time, right? That there could be somebody else coming in.
Oh my God,
to the middle of that
defense
defense.
Just forever. We've been talking about that exact thing.
Yeah.
So that was good. So there's a lot of those details we'll get to. I wanted to have this discussion briefly with you. So on very short notice, our guy Jace on it. It's at Cedar Point for me. We had a change, and all of a sudden I was going to Cedar Point on Sunday, and my guy Jace was incredible.
Jace is the man.
That place is unbelievable. I have been there. We go there every summer. It's always awesome. It's undefeated. I can't believe it's in our backyard. From a thrill park, there's just nothing close. I had never ridden Steel Vengeance before because it had been broke down. Every time that we had gone, like we'd be back there, you'd ride Maverick. Last year when we were there, we rode Maverick. We were walking over to Steel Vengeance, breakdown, or it stopped. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit back here and do that. I just can't. It's let's keep moving. You're so far back in that back part of the park that for whatever reason, it just didn't ever work out to do it. So NBC had ridden it before with his buddies last year. He's like, Dad, you have to. So I rode this thing. I mean, it's the best roller coaster on the planet, right?
Yes.
I mean, we get
through the tight windows there.
We get off of it, and I was floored. I just could not believe how good it was. And I'd always been like a Millennium Maverick guy. Like I always like those. I like Gatekeeper a lot too. I think that's a fun one.
Great. I was surprised by your ranking. The only thing that I was
Val Raven's good too.
Your Val Raven ranking was a little.
Might have been that we hit it first because that was the first time I rode it. Too was then, so we hit that first. We entered right there through the marina. So we entered Val Raven, rode it right away, and it was great. But I mean, they're all good. Like the 5 that I listed are all home runs. I mean, we don't even talk about Raptor or any of this other stuff. But I'd always been a Maverick Millennium best. That thing's a whole nother level. That Steel Vengeance is another level. That's crazy good.
Yes.
And I thought it was like revolutionary thought. And then I went on I'm like, are there rankings for roller coasters? Well, of course there's rankings for roller coasters.
Of course.
And I had the boys rank theirs.
Oh, always.
The Vengeance thing was without number 1 on every ranking in the world. Like it's not even, no matter who's putting the rankings together, Steel Vengeance is number 1.
Yeah, it's elite. It's elite.
It's crazy.
Sitting in the front seat of Val Raven, though, is...
Yeah, we did.
It's
elite. Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. When
you have the realization that that harness is keeping you alive.
That's right. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Full stop.
That's right. Yeah. I knew I was in for it on Vengeance when they locked in my calves. And it was at that point I thought, oh.
Yeah, we're going to be in
we're going to jump up a notch here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those corkscrews to be that smooth through those tight windows, or it feels tight, obviously.
Of course it feels tight, yeah.
They're awesome.
Well, and
you get a big
the
hip,
whole it's like two very big different feels to the ride. Like
Yeah.
there's two huge parts of it. So then once you're in those corkscrews and inside the wood, then you feel like your head's going to get taken off at any moment.
Yeah.
But of course you're not that close to it. But boy, it makes you feel like it
feels
is.
like it. Yeah.
I thought it was exceptional. That place is great.
Did you fast pass it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to.
Yeah. And I understand that that's a steep price for people. But so like typically we do that. We'll do that like once for the kids in the summer, and then the other time if they go again, like they're on their own.
Yeah.
Wish you all the best. Like we had, look at that guy. We had, look at those sneaks.
Yeah.
Up in the shoe game a little bit. That's
He's
a
doing
big
well.
play.
He's
It's a
doing
big
well.
play.
He's thriving.
Yeah, I like it. We rode Valraven, Millennium, Maverick, the swing thing,
Yeah.
and then and Steel Vengeance. We were in the the mouse thing. They have this new mouse coaster. I didn't ride it, but the kids did.
And they can't even use your fast pass on it.
Can't use the fast pass on it. So I did that started. We were at 10 o'clock and we got through all that by 1.
Yeah.
Meantime, one of Peyton's buddies' brothers was there, and he had already used his fast pass earlier in the season, and so he had rode 1 ride in the time that we rode 6.
Yeah.
So it's steep, but
Yeah.
it's if you want to try to do it,
saves
it's your
you
chance. Yeah,
hours.
Your time.
Did you go on
hours.
Raptor?
I've ridden it a bunch. I love
Solid,
it.
dude.
I love
Raptor's
it. But
good.
but I didn't get to because we went in at the marina. So you come in right at Valraven.
Yep.
So we went that way and
Left.
then went left around, and then they were going to get Raptor and Gatekeeper and all that on the way out.
Best.
The only thing I
park.
hadn't ridden was Valraven and Steel Vengeance. So we got both those in.
2 heaters, dude.
I mean, it was
Val Raven is a heater.
it's great. It's just shorter.
yes,
Like
but
Vengeance is crazy.
like your kids had to be on that opening part. Like,
Oh, you're screaming. Yeah.
yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah.
When you start there, then it's all gravy.
Yeah,
at that
right,
point.
right.
And I still think Maverick's great.
Mavericks.
It's great. It's awesome. What are your? When's the last time you've been up there, Gibbe?
I think it was last summer.
Okay.
Last summer. I like Vengeance. Raptor is one of my true favorites.
It's awesome.
I mean, it's.
You got to be tall
Vengeance-
like we are though, because if you're not, your head can end up in between the harness, and then you get a lot of this. So we're like, Gibbe and I would be tall to be on
So-
top of it. That's a tough, because that can be like my kids sometimes they love it, but then they also hate it because they're like getting noggin knocked.
Yeah.
See, and that's like I don't fit well in Maverick.
Yeah. It is tighter.
Like
yeah.
I've got to kind of like slump
Height-wise,
down
that's
a little
tough.
bit.
Yeah. Because they have those harnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the most comfortable ride for me. I mean, I love Millennium. I'm still a Magnum guy,
Magnum's great.
like especially at night
Like the
because there's no
original?
lights
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's awesome.
Dude, it is so jerky.
It is, but that's the longest pull to the top too.
Yes.
Like you have a long time to contemplate.
Well, yeah.
How
what's
high you're getting.
what's gonna happen?
Yeah. You have a long time.
mean,
the others
the
are pretty quick to get
Millennium though, like if you make the mistake of, I turned around to talk to my
to
kids.
the high. No.
Horrible idea.
Bad idea.
Horrible idea.
No, it's terrible. That's terrible.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I think there's an announcement coming this week about what they're doing with the dragster.
Seems like it,
I
yeah.
see they keep dropping some photos, so I don't
Yeah.
know what that looks like. I used to love riding that. Front seat, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you're looking straight down,
Yeah.
175 feet above.
That's the only one. That was the only ride. I only rode that once, and that was the only ride that I legitimately felt like it's possible that I was coming out of this thing.
Yeah.
Because it was just a lap bar, wasn't it?
Yep. And
That's
there
it.
was a
You're like,
seatbelt and a
A
lap bar.
seatbelt and a lap bar. And
But
I'm
it
like, this
wasn't-
does not feel sufficient enough.
Nope. I can remember the first time going. I don't
and
know
you lift
about
out
this.
at the top, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
All right.
like right before I went for the very first time, and it did not happen often, but there were times where it didn't quite make it.
Yeah. Right.
And it came back, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh.
if you don't hit it at 122 miles an hour, you come back.
Yeah. No thanks.
No, thank you.
No. I can do this, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That place is great.
So it's funny. I have not ridden Steel Vengeance
Oh God.
because it it was closed.
So, yeah, that'll happen. Like it's
Oh, you gotta get on it,
The
Gibbe.
4 times that we had gone since it's been open, this was the first time that it was operational. So
That
like
is
when
the
we saw it was
former-
running, we're like, let's go.
That is the former What is
It was
that
a
coaster?
wooden one
It
back
was the
there
longest, tallest wooden coaster in America.
Yeah.
What was it?
Mean Streak.
Mean Streak. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Stevie.
No, Steel Vengeance it is really good. By the way, you've been talking about like older movies a lot lately
Yeah.
that you've come across that
Yeah.
you've really enjoyed. So
A lot
on
of times with the kids, yeah.
on the flight, I don't know if the kids are quite ready for this one yet.
Okay.
But it's one that I hadn't seen in a while that I remember I loved. I bought it on DVD, the whole
Yeah.
deal back in my collecting days. The Patriot.
Oh, Gibson.
Dude.
Yeah.
So I got to watch basically the first
And Heath Ledger, right?
Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gibson. I'm pretty sure that's Jeremy Irons. Maybe I don't know. Let's see. I'll have to look at the cast. Whoever the main bad guy is
The main Brit.
maybe it's Jason Patrick. I don't know. He is despicable. And I was like remembering how good this movie was, and then how much like that opening scene. Jason Isaacs is who it is.
Yeah.
He is. Oh, is he bad? Chris Cooper's in it. I mean, you got some
Star-studded.
hard.
This is where the idea here was that he was trying to do American Braveheart. That's what he was kind of trying
yes,
to
and
do.
he
Yeah.
did it.
And he did it, yeah. Yeah. Landed it. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
And there
Probably
is some.
Did he go off the deep end after that
hard.
movie?
There are some
That's what happened.
hard stuff to watch in that movie. There are some ruthless scenes.
Yeah,
Of
see, it's been
just
so long.
evil
Yeah.
from the Redcoats.
Yeah.
And then when it's
When it's time to go.
has been, he basically, it'll be a good one for you to watch once after you watch John Wick, because he basically feels so wronged and
Yeah.
has such a hunger for vengeance that's a parallel to John Wick. Like I wonder if John Wick's was maybe even inspired a little bit by
The way that they
the
went about
pain
this.
the pain as a motivator for great vengeance.
It could be.
I
Could
mean,
be. I think Gibby's right, though, because Gibson went off the reservation after that.
Yeah.
And then at that point, like, all of that stuff got pulled out of.
he was so good in this movie.
Dude, how
He
great was he in Lethal
emotes-
Weapon?
His ability
Braveheart,
to emote
he's
is
incredible.
He just was.
You know, one of my favorite things to do with
Incredible.
Braveheart was I had a buddy of mine whose dad was a history professor at Florida State, and I would always marvel at, like, the historical accuracies of Braveheart. Just to watch him just fume. Fume.
Not
They
so
really
much.
nailed it.
Really got all of this exactly right.
Yeah, it's so true to life.
All right, we do have a ton to get to. Coming up next, you'll hear from Coach. This was after Sunday's practice. You have that. There's a lot going around in the league. Aaron Rodgers goes straight at Sean Payton. A crazy situation playing out in Indy. Go ahead.
No, it's just that what we're going to talk about. It's just
Yeah.
there is a lot of crazy stuff going on in the league, but Aaron Rodgers, and we'll leave it at this and we'll discuss Aaron Rodgers' ability to think that he can just like rewrite history of his own behavioral traits and things
Yeah.
that he has done in the past just because he's in New York now is crazy to me.
It's a lot going on. We'll put it all into perspective. We're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
We
Be sure to catch the season debut of the Browns preview show tonight at 7. Ken Gerard on the University Hospital's Cleveland Browns radio network. Browns legend and Hall of Fame inductee Joe Thomas will join the guys live at 7:15. It's Hoff Week. Hoff Week down in Canton. That is going to be a fun week down there. We'll have much more on that as the week continues. You pumped iron with
with the Hoff today.
How long has he been here?
I think he got in yesterday.
Okay. All right. So he's in town, and it's going to be a fun week.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
He's the best.
Yeah, he's the best ever. That's right. He's a Hoff.
Literally.
Yeah.
He was talking about how he was very honored and kind of almost couldn't even believe it. But the Sporting News did the Mount Rushmore of Cleveland.
Yeah.
And
Bill Bender did that. Yeah.
And he was on it. He's like, I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah.
I was like, you're the Hoff.
The Hoff, man.
I said, dude, if they played the ultimate game of football ever,
yeah,
like the best, you're one team starting left tackle and Anthony Munoz is the other. I mean,
he's the best. I mean, he's universally considered the best pass blocking
left tackle
ever.
Right.
So,
I said, you're the Hoff.
You're the game. Come on, you're the Hoff.
So just real quickly, so people can. So I'm doing a chest workout I found that's like supposed to increase your max over the course of like a few months.
Okay.
So you start at 66% of your max, so 2/3 of your max, and then each week, and you try and do 10 sets of 3.
Okay.
Very easy at the beginning, but and then every week you add 5 pounds, until eventually, like if you can only do 9 sets of 3 and the 10 set you can only get 1, you cut that out. So then the next week you're going for 9 sets of 3, up 5 pounds again, until you get eventually down to 1.
Yep.
1. So I'm at the point now where I'm like at like 80% of my max. So Hoff was gonna do he did the program with me today. So I just texted him like, what's 80% of your max? 275, no big deal. So he did 10 sets of 3 of 275. I'm exactly 2/3 of the Hoff as a lifter. On pretty much everything upper body. Lower body, no, not.
Yeah.
But upper body,
Well, that's
I'm
a
pretty
hell of
much
an accomplishment. You're a man,
two-thirds.
you're a 40.
Yeah,
like you're not
2/3
a
of the
gold
Hoff.
jacket NFL Hall of Famer.
Yeah, so he was at like.
That's really good.
He was at 270 basically, and I was at 180.
Yeah.
Just like feeling pretty good about what I
Sure,
was
you
doing.
should.
I was feeling fine.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, watch me do
Watch this.
275. Yeah.
That's great.
He's so strong, and he's just great to work out together. But now we're forming a tag team, and
I like it.
we're getting ready for.
I like it.
For big things.
You'll like this. This is Coach Stefanski from Sunday's practice.
Okay, first,
You're down.
say thank you to the Greenbrier, to the people of West Virginia. What an amazing experience. They were so gracious to us down here. We were guests. Made it a great experience, and that's players, coaches. Thank you to that group, and then our group. And I mentioned them before, but to pull this off, there's a lot that goes into it. So I'm extremely grateful to the men and women in our organization that worked tirelessly to get us down here, and they're working tirelessly right now to pack everything up. So really a great effort by everybody, and then we're excited to get back up home. So we'll be up home. We get to see our fans August 1st in Berea, which we're very excited about, and then it's all part of the process, still coming along, still work to do, and then excited about next week we get to play in the Hall of Fame game, and we get to honor Joe Thomas's contribution to this organization. So a lot going on, and we're excited about it. But with that, I'll take any questions.
Devin, what's your reaction to Hudson throwing a punch at elbow, and then the skirmish that happened moments later?
Yeah,
An offensive tackle get hurt?
Well, I'll say this. Fighting, skirmishes, jawing happens in every training camp and at every level of football. They're tired, they're hot, they've been going against each other, so I'm not surprised at that at all. They talked about it, it's over. We don't throw punches, so I'll review that stuff, and there's obviously penalties if you're throwing punches. In games, you get thrown out of the game. So why practice something that would get you thrown out of a game? So we will address that, obviously, but I don't think anybody's ever been around a bunch of football players in the heat that don't get a little agitated, if you will.
Otherwise, it looked like a defensive dominating day. Would you agree?
It was awesome. Yeah, I was telling Coach Schwartz, that's great work for the offense, great work for the defense. It's good versus good. Coach Schwartz and the DBs and the front and the linebackers, I mean, they're going to make the offense work. They're going to make you earn everything. You're going to have to throw into tight windows. So the drill we were doing down there was third downs in the red zone, and that's really, really challenging. And I thought the defense did a really nice job.
Do you want to come back here?
Like I said, Tony, we had a great experience. I think conversations for that will come at a later date, but it was a great experience. I mean, the backdrop of where we are is pretty special.
Hey,
on the first day down here that, it's kind of an intangible when you talk about chemistry, because you sort of mentioned that as a goal down there. Now, 9 days later, do you feel like you achieved something?
Yeah, I mean, I think you do, just naturally being around each other. Of course, you do organically, but we've talked about it. I mean, your entire season, you're building towards something, and that's including building a strength between players, between coaches, et cetera. So that's something that's ongoing. We'll see. Yeah, I don't have an update, so I don't know.
But I mean, how unfortunate would it be if he gets to be
Oh yeah, obviously. Yeah,
if something happened, he's been having a nice camp.
sure, but hard to. I don't want to speculate, so we'll see.
Kevin, why hasn't Jordan Akins been out here the last 3 days?
Resting at knee, but just rest.
What was maybe something that kind of an unexpected thing that you've noticed over these 9 days that maybe you weren't, that you please you, that you feel like it's something you could do?
I think, I don't know, I just think this whole thing is part of a process. I mean, the season kicks off September 10th. It's 17 games plus. So this is our first step into building on the foundation of the spring. But it's all started the process. We have a ton of work to do. We're not there yet. Obviously, we'll get ready to play in this game, but we're not. We got plenty of days to stack before we're ready September 10th.
Was this the most competitive practice?
I think I think you can compete like crazy, Tony, whether you're in pads, whether you're in shells, whether, there's jawing back and forth. I think you can compete, and I've seen that. And I know that sounds crazy, but I've seen it throughout every one of these days, even into the individual drills, into the one-on-one drills. Guys are competing like crazy.
Were you glad that on getaway day there was that much competitiveness?
Yeah, and yes, because we're up and early. So I talked to a few of the players before this because you had to bring the energy today. We're up early than normal. It is getaway day, as you mentioned, so I thought they were locked in.
Obviously, there's still energy today, but do you think coming back to Berea with the fans can provide some kind of
Without a doubt. Oh man, yeah, without a doubt. And it's these guys have been playing this sport for a long time, but the second you have a crowd there and they're cheering you on, you feel that it's our home fans. It's special when they come out there to Berea like they do in droves. So we'll absolutely get a kick from that.
Are you leaving that up to individual players to attend Joe's thing, or is there going to be a formal team?
There will be a contingent of us going down, but I don't have the final list just yet.
Getting lots of pass breakups, especially in red zone drills and things like that. Marvin Wine,
Yeah.
all these guys are great. How much is that going to help Deshaun and the guys on offense?
Oh yeah, it's great. You mentioned some really good players. They're playing with great technique. So when you get into the red zone, you have to be so precise, and those windows are so small. You better be making
30.
And the quarterback got to drive throws, and you have to look off safeties and all those things. So it's just great work for both sides.
It looked like DTR, as the week went along, got a lot sharper. Do you feel like that was the case?
Yeah, I think he's had some good reps. I've been really pleased with that entire group. DTR is going to get to play quite a bit in this game, so we're just trying to get him ready to go as a rookie. So I think with each one of his reps, he's taking advantage of them.
You're up.
So I'm going to tell you what, that's what's going to save Thursday, other than just being in the presence of the Hoff and all the greatness and all the Browns fans down there in Canton. Like the two young quarterbacks and some of the young talent on this team, it's going to be fun to watch how they go a little bit.
Yeah, I think we're going to have we're going to have a fun team to watch in this period. You got a lot of young, hungry guys. I think we have two quarterbacks who are very successful in college, who have played a lot of football. Both of them played many, many years. Both are the all-time leaders at their respective schools. So, yeah, I think that's going to be one of the things I'm really looking forward to. And then, with some of our young receivers, like, can David Bell take a step? Can he get back to being the guy we saw dominate high-level competition at Purdue? Cedric Tillman had some ups and downs certainly there, can make plays, but assignment and alignment, getting in the right spots, understanding what he's supposed to do, the rookies learning the playbook. So that's a lot of his head spinning. But I think it's actually going to be a really fun camp. And then you got guys fighting for their NFL lives at defensive tackle. You're going to have some guys fighting to make the roster, and we got good young rushers like Alex Wright and Isaiah Thomas, and we drafted Isaiah McGuire this year.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a fun. I love that we have the extra game. I actually really do. And even though it's the idea of doing the boards with 180 people is scary.
Yeah.
I realized that last year in the preseason I focused way too much on the other team. Like nobody really cares about
Nobody
their
cares.
eighth
You're
receiver.
gonna talk about
I'm going to talk about the Browns.
You're talking about the Browns guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I do think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited about it. And
I
I
be
think
here before we know it.
they're excited to get in front of the fans. I think tomorrow is going to be really cool to see them in front of the fans and get that energy.
Yeah, I said that to you before you left. I think it's good to feel like a football bubble down there, and then real camp for like now Cleveland camp tomorrow. Now you're going. Now it's going to have that feel to it.
By the way, Pee Wee Herman, R.I.P.
I saw that. Yeah. Do you think the young kids would even know?
Like, do you think people could even comprehend the entirety of what Pee Wee Herman was? The
full
rise, the fall, all of it in like today's society? No way.
I don't
right?
even think you
like
could,
that show wouldn't even get on the air.
No, I don't know how you could even describe what that show was or how it was a sensation. It was never for me. I never liked it as a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I liked the movie, Big Top Adventure. The first movie was pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't anything I rushed
Tell
out.
him Large Marge sent you.
It wasn't anything that I was into.
Yeah.
But yeah, gone at 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the craziest fact about everything Pee Wee Herman, there are many, many crazy facts. Do you know who the mailman was on his show?
No, I don't.
Samuel L. Jackson.
Didn't see that coming.
No, you didn't.
No.
Samuel L. Jackson.
From there to Jules Winfield
That's right.
in a short amount of time.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Get your head around that.
It's a lot to wrap your head around, Coach.
Like,
lot.
I think there were a lot of names I could have said.
No, that was
would have
not
been-
where you were going.
No. Yeah.
I was not going there. All right, we'll go around the league coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily 850 ESPN Cleveland. Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers, Serious Injuries. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. We have this. Good. This is this, Gibby, is this Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
This is his sound?
Yes.
Okay.
On NFL Plus with Peter Schrager? Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is Aaron Sean, let's set the table. I'll set the table for the people. I can't assume that everybody knows all that's happened here. Sean Payton has a press conference last week, I want to say on Thursday or Friday, where he says that the coaching that happened last year in Denver is the worst he's seen in the history of football. And basically,
it was an interview with USA Today.
No, there's audio.
I have not heard any audio.
No,
all
audio
I could see
when he
was written stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I watched it. So this was Thursday that he did this. Then Friday he comes out and goes, I
tried to back down. Yeah.
I didn't. That wasn't. I think he said I still had my analyst hat on, is what he said.
Wasn't that good?
No.
Actually, you might still be an analyst if it was that good.
Yeah, lit people up like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, then Rodgers on Saturday, I think, is on with Schrager on NFL Plus, and then here was his response to Payton, and this is all in response to Nathaniel Hackett, who I think we all can acknowledge was hired by Denver in part to woo Rodgers to Denver last year. He was fired how many ever games into it, and the rest is history. Hackett is now the offensive coordinator in New York with the Jets. So that sets the table for this.
I'm not going to ask you about Sean Payton's comments directly, but I will ask you to maybe address Nathaniel Hackett as a coach and what he means to you and what he can bring to this Jets team. That story goes out there. I had about 1 million texts from people in the coaching community saying that was out of line. Yet you see Hackett out here, he's still pumped up. I don't think it affects him as much as maybe it affects everyone on the outside. And yet you and him have this great bond and union together where you've always had his back, he's always had yours.
Yeah, I love Nathaniel Hackett, and those comments were very surprising. For a coach to do that to another coach. My love for Hackett goes deep. We had some great years together in Green Bay, kept in touch. Love him and his family. He's an incredible family man, incredible dad. And on the field, he's arguably my favorite coach I've ever had in the NFL. Just his approach to it, how he makes it fun, how he cares about the guys, just how he goes about his business with respect, with leadership, with honesty, with integrity. And it made me feel bad that someone who's accomplished a lot in the league is that insecure that they have to take another man down to set themselves up for some sort of easy fall if it doesn't go well for that team this year. Thought it was way out of line and inappropriate, and I think he needs to keep my coach's names out of his mouth.
Yep.
So in other words, I think I will address the Sean Payton stuff.
Well, yeah, and Peter Schrager artfully
I'm not
gave the ruse that I'm not going,
it.
but I'm going to make like 1,000 comments in a row that are going to get you a little lamped up and have you going on it.
Yeah. That last part was pretty fun.
So we've reached a point, thanks to the Oscars, where when you say, keep so-and-so's name out of your mouth, that's where we're at the point where fighting is imminent.
Or at least a slap.
At least a slap heard around the world.
Yep.
Right. And that was not a slap and run. That was
slap and walk back and sit down.
Yeah.
In retrospect, yeah.
Everything that I have been told by, and people who have played with him as well, is that he was kind of tough teammate. He has been publicly incredibly critical of his peers, which would be the same as a coach commenting on another coach. That's peer-to-peer crime. He's called for people in the organization to be out of there. Like, he's done a lot of public crushing of people.
Oh, yeah.
So I think to get that fired up over somebody else doing the same was pretty wild to me.
Yeah, a lot of kettle stuff there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Damashek, who I enjoy following on Twitter. Damashek had like a screenshot where he made a collage of all the times that Rodgers had done something very similar to what Sean Payton did. And so I thought that was very interesting. He's supposedly hanging out with young guys, being like the most gregarious teammate.
Sauce Gardner,
wearing bling, getting a gift. That was a pretty nice gift from Sauce Gardner.
Yeah. They're getting a little pretty elite ones versus ones like Gardner and Wilson.
Yeah.
In Jets camp is pretty good.
Yes.
No, I'm with you on that. I thought it was a little tricky to say the least. Not nearly as tricky as the Jonathan Taylor situation with the Colts. So, I mean, what Irsay said was true. If
Yes.
I die tomorrow and if he doesn't play another down, the NFL moves on, that they forget about all of us. All that stuff is true for
Yes.
sure. You just don't say it. And I think
No.
this all started when Irsay tweeted out when all this running back stuff was going on. He had tweeted out something to the effect of this was collectively bargained. It's inappropriate to address this stuff now. Like, this is what it is. Which kind of always comes back to, does an owner really need to be tweeting? No. I mean, there's no real gain there. So then that leads to, something about a back injury. Now Jonathan Taylor's saying, I didn't have a back injury.
And I've never said anything about
a back injury. There's this notion that they want to put him on the non-football injury
Yeah,
list.
not
so
pay
he's
him.
not paid for the year, and he'll pick up next year. And then he requests a trade. So that's where that escalated quickly over the course of a week.
Boy, did it. I mean, boy, did it escalate quickly. We've gone through this, ad nauseum. I think that, for Jonathan Taylor, here's the problem. You're coming off of an injury. What if you're the Colts? You're not just going to give him away for nothing.
No.
So what team out there, given kind of what's going on in the running back world to begin with,
That's right.
is going to offer a premium pick and then be willing to pay him?
Nobody.
And he's not Christian McCaffrey.
No.
I mean, heck, Austin Eckler couldn't get traded. And
No.
Austin Eckler has led the NFL in touchdowns, total touchdowns, each of the last 2 seasons, and he'll catch 90 or 100 balls.
Yep.
So I think he's going to be very disappointed with the outcome of this.
I agree.
Unfortunately, and isn't he on like his rookie deal still?
Yeah, he was a first-round pick.
Right.
Yeah.
So they can do a 5th-year option on him.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't even he has
There's nothing. There's
zero
no
leverage.
There's
He has nothing.
No, nothing.
Or just to not play
Yep.
and not get paid and just say that I'm not going to do it. But listen, it's the reality of that position. I go back to, and I've kind of had some arguments with a bunch of people about it, and what I go back to is if they want running backs to be compensated the way that people feel they should, which is really kind of like a benevolent thing, right? To say that they are
charitable,
underpaid, right? Because everything is supply and demand. If the NFL teams felt that there was a paucity of elite running backs, a dearth, if you will, and that they had a premium on that position, and thus the value, given the rarity, went up, running backs would be getting paid like that.
100%.
There's a complete change in the understanding of the game and the efficiencies of the game, and like the notion that a team would trade their entire draft class for the right to draft Ricky Williams
that happened.
Is crazy. Or even the Herschel Walker trade. Like,
right.
That doesn't.
It's over.
It's over. So I think that the only solution, right, is to say running back salaries count 50% against the salary cap. And then maybe for a select few running backs, they might actually be able to make more money. The rest of it, they're going to say, this is great.
Yeah.
They count half. That means my rookie coming, like I have more money to spend elsewhere.
Yeah.
But that's the only way that I think you have a chance of even getting anybody paid really what they want. And then you have to accept the fact that of the last 6 big running back deals that were signed, nobody finished out their contract with the team that signed them.
No. That just is what it is.
And Kamara might, and I think Nick Chubb will.
Yeah.
I think Nick Chubb has a chance to be a Cleveland Brown for a long, long time. I think for maybe his entire career. It's going to take, though, him making some concessions and from his position, and the Browns will be ultimately making some concessions, I think, from their
hit illegal
true philosophy.
Yeah. You listen to 850 WKNR Cleveland and Good Karma Brands station. All right, coming up next, we will hit the 53-man from Jake Trotter. We had another uniform debut as well. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back in. The Eagles joined the list of teams with a throwback.
Shocker, they're great.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Everybody just should wear their best old school uniform.
Yeah, and I think the reason that it's nostalgia for sure. But the other thing is, and I think you and I were talking about it a little bit last week, it's a full color palette. So the league was so much more colorful at that time because there wasn't one uniform outfitter who demanded that all the blues look the same and all the oranges look the same and all the blacks obviously are the same. But there's plenty of them where they're like, look, you're going to wear, for example, like the New York Jets and the Green Bay Packers before the Jets went to this current green, it's the same green.
Right.
The navies are all the same navy. Like there's no variation to it. So then these throwbacks come out and you're like, wow, look at how colorful this league used to be. Yeah, they're gorgeous. They smoked them.
Yes.
And it's not hard.
No, it's not hard.
You know, I think what you'll see is probably that becomes the permanent use of it. I think you'll see, a normal home uniform. In some instances, I think what Denver's going to try to do next year, they're redoing theirs next year. It seems like what they're going to try to do is thread the needle on a mix of their old Elway and like a newer version of it. So we've seen the Vikings do that. We've seen the Lions do that. We did sort of that.
I like that they went back to at least the good logo on that throwback, that Mount snow-capped helmet.
Yeah. So apparently they're going to go with that logo on a blue helmet next year, but it's just a question of will they go to like the royal blue that they wore with Elway, which they should, or the navy blue, which they've been wearing. Go the royal.
That's right.
That's the way that goes on that side of things.
Yep.
All right. Anything? Oh yeah. All right. Let's get to Jake. Jake Trotter, great friend of the program, predicted his 53-man roster.
Yes.
We're ways out from this. But as we had him on last week, there's not that much in dispute because there aren't that many positions up for grabs.
Well, there are and there aren't, right? So as we go through this and we get through his...
I shouldn't say positions up for grab. I should have said roster spots up for grab.
Yes. So we'll kind of highlight where we think that there are maybe some roster spots that potentially could be up for grabs. So quarterback, 3... he's got Deshaun Watson, Josh Dobbs, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I agree that this will be the 3, but there will be competition, from Kellen Mond for the 3rd spot. And as of today, my guess is Mond is ahead of him. He's been here with us for a year, and DTR is going to have to beat him out.
Running back, he's got Chubb, Ford, and Felton.
I agree with the number 3. I'm not sure the 3rd running back is here.
So that's what I was curious about. We didn't have a chance to talk about that last week. Did Jerome Ford have a good week?
He did. He was doing just fine, but he missed Saturday and Sunday for a personal matter. So he was not even in the real padded practice, and so that's going to be...
So who was the second back?
John Kelly.
Kelly was there. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And how was Felton working?
Fine. I mean, he's caught some passes. I just think that 3rd back is going to either be a veteran who's willing to come in on the minimum, or when somebody gets cut somewhere else where maybe there's a deeper running back room, like the Jets, if they sign Dalvin Cook, they'll cut a good running back.
Okay. All right, receiver, he's got Cooper, DPJ, Moore, Tillman, Goodwin, Bell, Jakeem Grant. Those 7.
So I have a hard time believing we're going to keep 7 receivers. I really do. I mean, your top 3 are going to play so much. If Goodwin is healthy, then I think you go with 6. I just don't, we haven't seen Jakeem Grant do anything other than some returns. He's not played receiver yet. Does he still have that game-changing ability? Or, Jerome Ford was very good last year, and then DPJ took one in the house. Elijah Moore can do it. We've got some guys who are returners. So I'd be surprised if it's 7. I could understand it if Grant does look that good to say, okay, he's a weapon, and that weapon is going to help us win a game or 2 here this season. Now, if Goodwin is out, then I think Grant gets a chance to maybe be that 6th receiver if he can show that he can run some vertical routes and still has his speed. And then I think Jalen Darden is certainly in the mix if there is no Goodwin, but we just have to see how long he's out with that hammy. I think, Anthony Schwartz, it's still... He's just not a natural catcher of the ball, and I feel like that just makes it very difficult to play wide receiver in the NFL.
Sure
if
is.
That's the case.
Yeah.
And then, Dalen Baldwin's had a great camp. Harley Jr.'s had a great camp. Those are guys that I think will end up. Austin Watkins has actually looked pretty good, especially on special teams as well as at receiver. So I think those guys are fighting to be on the practice squad. I think you're pretty much your top 4 are 100% locks. I don't think that David Bell will get every opportunity in at least 2 years. I mean, to show that he can or cannot play at this level. So I think you have 5 that are absolute locks, and then if Goodwin's there, I think you have 6 that are absolute locks. And the question would be, would they have 7? And I don't know. See, to me, I think he's light on the D-line with only 9 of them.
With the rotation that Schwartz is going to want to play.
Yeah, I think that you could end up with 10 in that room. Or you could end up with 7 at linebacker. That's the tough part.
The 3 tight ends are the 3 tight ends.
I think that's exactly right.
Offensive line, he has 9.
Yep. So
Wills, Batonio, Posick, Teller, Conklin, Hudson, Forbes, Jones, Whippler.
Hudson and Jones, I think, are locks. I think so. On the interior, you have, I think, Forbes.
How's Duan Dunn down there, Big Thanos?
He had a nice run block on one, and then he's just so big. If he can get his hands on the guy, it's hard to get around him to get to the quarterback. I mean, you can just see he is such a mountain of a man.
Yeah.
So I thought he looked pretty good. Conditioning, obviously, he did gain 15 pounds of lean muscle this offseason, was in better shape, so they were very pleased. He battled illness early, but got out there and did fine. I think what you're going to see is there's going to be a battle here for the guard spot, Drew Forbes, Michael Dunn, who's done it for a while, and then Wes Martin, who's a pro, who's been in the league for, a while. Dunn, they know very well. Forbes, whenever Batonio's out, he's the guy that gets that rep. And then Wes Martin's a guy who's had 38 career games, 11 starts. Was a former 4th-round pick of the Washington football team in 2019. So I think those 3 are looking at one spot there.
I wouldn't go to sleep on Nick Harris.
Well, I was going to get Nick Harris with Luke Whippler for the backup center. I think that Nick Harris, right now, he is running as the number 2. He looks great.
Well, yeah,
he had a great.
He played very well up there.
O-line, D-line, one-on-one on Saturday in the padded practice. Like when the secondary versus wide receivers, it was line versus line. So I went over there to watch that. Nick Harris went up against Dalvin Tomlinson twice and held his own.
Nick Harris beat out Posick. I think people forget, he won the job last year. There was no doubt he was going to be the starting center.
He looks really good coming off of that knee injury.
He looks great. They love Whippler. So would they maybe say we need to keep 10 to make sure we keep Whippler in the program, but that Nick Harris is still our best bet for this season as our backup, and then next year he would transition out and Whippler would take that spot? Or do they think they can get Whippler through the practice squad? He was, I think, a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
Do they think he can get him through to the practice squad?
Can they play Harris at guard?
I think you want a true guard. He's a little undersized as a center, so he would be very undersized as a guard. But I think those are the competitions that you're looking at there.
D-line 9, you mentioned it. That's the number that you think could be a little bit bigger. He's got Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Elliott, Tomlinson, Obo, Siaki Ika, Maurice Hurst, Alex Wright, Isaiah McGuire as the 9 there.
So, they're meeting with Shelby Harris. Let's say he signs. Could you end up with 5 defensive ends and 5 defensive tackles? Like, would you keep, they've been very impressed with Maurice Hurst. Then there's Isaiah Thomas. Do they keep 6 defensive ends, or do they hope that they can slide Isaiah Thomas through the practice squad? He was excellent up at the Greenbrier. This is a tough, it's good. It's a loaded room, especially the defensive end room where you got Miles, Zadarius, Obo, Alex Wright, McGuire, who you drafted this year, Isaiah Thomas. You got 6 guys there maybe for 5 spots. And then interior, we've talked about it. Dalvin and Jordan Elliott are going to be here for sure. Siaki Ika is going to be here for sure. So you have 3 for sures.
Yeah.
And then Maurice Hurst has looked good, but we have to acknowledge, he hasn't played since really 2020.
Yeah.
Due to injury. In his first 2 years in the league, he had 7.5 sacks in 2018, 2019. Talented guy. He is healthy now. But this is where, all of a sudden you put Shelby Harris in there, and then I think you've got your 4. And the question would be, do they think they can get Maurice Hurst through the practice squad? And the answer is probably yeah.
Linebacker, he's got 6, Awok, J.O.K., Taki, Jacob Phillips, Tony Fields, and Matthew Adams. No Jordan Kanashik, who has been a big...
Kanashik, right, barring something crazy happen, Kanashik's making this team. He is... Schwartz loves him. He's been working with the first-team linebackers at Mike with the injuries. He's been phenomenal. He's playing better linebacker than ever, and he is maybe one of our top overall core special teams guys. Now, Matthew Adams was with Bubba in Indy, likes him a ton. He's out a few weeks with a calf injury will be ready for the season. I think what could happen here, and I'm going to add another name here, Mohamed Diabate. He could make this team as an undrafted free agent. So maybe they end up with 7 linebackers for special teams, but we're really going to be in nickel the most. Probably not 7. But there could be a name that we're familiar with coming, either off of injury or pushing Tony Fields or whatever, or maybe this room doesn't look exactly as we think it's going to look.
Corner, he has 6, Ward, Newsome, Emerson, Green, Mitchell, and Ford.
I think it's Cam Mitchell versus Thomas Graham. I think are really the ones that's kind of the battle there. Mitchell, the draft pick this year, but, again, when you're a late round pick,
yeah,
we'll see.
Safety, the 4, Delpit, Thornhill, McLeod, and Bell.
I like that right now. Yep. And D'Anthony Bell's had a very, very nice camp.
Specialists, Hewlett, York, and Bjorquez.
Yep.
And away you go.
Not
much. There's a lot of positional battles, but in terms of roster spots, it's a couple of decisions here or there that impact. And if some of these young guys, we keep hearing their names press, someone's got to go when that stuff happens.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be interesting. And when you have these 4 preseason games, like a guy like Diabate has a chance to really make his case, you know what I mean, to be there. So we'll see. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how some of these things play out. But when you talk about things having a real impact, that 4th preseason game, like how these defensive tackles play. Like Tristan Hill, I wouldn't just write him off. He was a 2nd-round pick of the league. He's actually played a decent amount of football and been in the league. So I don't know that you'd necessarily just write him off as being somebody who could push Maurice Hurst. I just think there's a lot to be sorted out on these fringy position spots that will be sorted out, I think, in these games.
All right, coming up next, you'll hear from Miles. We will also get you set for tomorrow's practice, the lone one of this week before the Hoff game. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Cleveland Browns 2023 schedule is here. Get your single game tickets now for all the great matchups at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/tickets to purchase yours today. Hey, we've got a game Thursday. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Quite aware.
Quite aware. Just one practice, it'll be tomorrow.
And then a walkthrough on
And then a walkthrough Wednesday. Will the walkthrough be down there, or will it be here? Be here, right?
I would think here, yeah.
Be here, yeah. So you won't go down until you'll.
My guess is we're going to go up there on the.
Treat it like a home game.
Yeah, I would think. Is that right, Gibbe?
I don't know. Will they walk through down in Canton?
Like they're not going up there on Wednesday.
We will bust down Thursday afternoon late.
Okay. Go down there and play the game.
There will be a walkthrough on Wednesday here. Okay. It will not be one in Canton.
So I think, tomorrow you're going to still want to get good work for your starters, but at some point
you got to put in a game plan for these other guys.
And there's not going to be much of a game plan, right? It's going to be pretty vanilla, but you're going to have to give Mond and DTR a bunch of reps, which is kind of what they've been doing. It's been Watson, Mond, DTR. Dobbs hasn't really gotten many reps. They know what he is. He's the top backup.
Good to go, yeah.
That's it. So I do think that could be, you see a lot of the ones, but maybe Watson's reps are somewhat down from a normal practice so that you can get these guys ready to play in this game.
So tomorrow's practice, which will be our first one open here, will be what do you think?
I think it'll be a very normal practice.
Is it contact?
Is it pads? I would guess not.
You know what? Let me check. I don't know if they've told us that yet.
What's the time on that?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock. Okay.
Are we outside tomorrow, Gibbe?
Oh, we're outside.
Oh, baby.
Pack the sunscreen. Radio Row's back.
Fan in the tent?
Fan? Do we have a tent?
Well, the good news is we're back on the other side.
Okay.
Oh, over.
On the west side
over here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Less
That's
of
good
a
to
walk.
know for a walk standpoint for me. Coming in hot. So that's always good to know. So we'll be back over there.
Yeah, I think it'll be I'd be surprised if it would be pads since they're playing a game on Thursday. But maybe it is.
I don't have that.
Okay.
I just have practice at 2 o'clock.
Okay. All right.
So, we'll kind of see how this all plays out. But, I mean, it really is our only practice of the week until Saturday.
Yeah. Well, then the other thing with the Saturday practice, for some of our guys, they're going to be down in Canton for Joe.
Yeah, and
like Batonio and
I just need clarity. I
Miles
feel like that practice might be closed to the public, but I don't want to.
Because induction starts in Canton at noon.
Yeah.
So, some of our guys will be down there.
I think it's an early practice that day.
Yeah, it would make
sense. To get everybody out that wants to go and can attend. And then you're back Sunday.
There we go.
And then you're back.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of national people here.
Yeah, it doesn't say what it will be, but practice at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Then they have a walkthrough at 10:45 on Wednesday.
Yep.
Okay. So then then it starts going fast and furious because you're talking now every week we got a game.
Yep. Then you got
the rest of the way.
Then you got practices. You got walkthrough Saturday, Friday off. Oh, you got practice Saturday, open practice Sunday, open practice Monday. Players off, open practice Wednesday, light practice, and then the game Friday. So my guess is you'll see pads on that Sunday, Monday.
That Friday game.
Here.
That's here. So we got Canton here, then at Philly, and then at KC.
Yeah, and then Sunday we travel to Philly. You have joint practices with them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then
Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday's an off day.
It says on here
joint practices will only be 2 days.
Okay. Well, it says here 2 p.m. joint practice with Philly 1. Then on Tuesday, joint practice with Philly 2. Wednesday would be training camp practice 18 at the University of Pennsylvania. So maybe we have like a walkthrough on that Wednesday.
I would think so. A day before a game.
And then
I would
the game
assume.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Players off. Yep. And then you're loaded up, and then the preseason finale is that following Saturday. We're going to August is
in the
sauna
by. Known as Kansas City.
Yeah, that will be
1 o'clock kick on a Saturday afternoon.
1 o'clock Saturday afternoon is brutal.
Awful
in the preseason.
Awful
to do that to people. What's the idea with that? With the NFL, with that?
Getting families, getting rid of the tickets, getting people to actually come.
Jeez, that's brutal.
Yeah,
for that. One of the guys that I assure you will not see Thursday on the field is Myles Garrett. Will not stop our guys from talking to him. We will have that for you coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And be sure to catch the season debut of the Browns preview show tonight at 7. Ken Carmen, Gerard Cherry on the University Hospital's Cleveland Browns radio network. Browns legend, the Hoff, joins at 7:15. Another guy who could be destined for a gold jacket is Myles Garrett. Here's Z and Gerard with Myles.
Myles, first of all,
down
last year. You sit here now today, franchise leader in sacks. When you got that play, I believe it was against New England, what was that like for you to kind of have that moment and you solidify yourself as the all-time sack leader in the history of the Cleveland Browns?
Well, it's something that personally I couldn't do without the help of my teammates and the people who came before my predecessors, laying out that blueprint for how to do it, and it ended up being a great moment, big play for the team, got the ball back, but all these guys who have put us in position to make these big plays, I don't want them to be unsung. And I've played with some really good ones, all across the defense, and just I want to give them their roses because hopefully I have many more in counting, but I couldn't have done it without them.
And Myles, so much is being talked about the weather and it being hot out here, but I have to imagine growing up in Texas, playing in College Station at Texas A&M, this must be like a piece of cake for you as far as the weather's concerned.
It's all mental,
and
I think you just got to tell yourself early on that no matter what the situation is, whether it's 0 outside or if it's 100 outside, you're going to treat the game the same. You be true to the game, it's going to be true to you. And we all discussed that before we even came out here for the first day. And we made up our mind already, and the heat's not going to deter us from getting the work in at the highest level. And as a Texas boy, I love the heat just a little bit more than some others.
I'd imagine you prefer this to that Christmas Eve game against the Saints last year. This is probably more your speed in terms of temperature. You mentioned playing with great players. Well, there are 5 guys in the league that have double-digit sacks in 3 of the last 4 seasons. 2 of them are now Cleveland Browns. You, obviously, and your new teammate, Za'Darius Smith. What's it like to have somebody opposite you that is known for getting to the quarterback, 3-time Pro Bowler? That's what he does, and to kind of have that tandem together.
I don't want to take away from the guys who came before him, and JD, OV, Sheldon. Those guys were also very talented and could get to the quarterback any given time. So it's great to have Za'Darius as part of his team. He has a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience. He's brought a lot of knowledge to the room, and he's not shy about sharing this. He's open to us coming to him and talking, or being vocal in the classroom to explaining what we need to do better. And he himself has been very receptive to things and been willing to learn from us. So having someone in a room who's like that, just a great vet, great teammate, really, really good and honest person. Just love having those kind of guys around.
And Myles, it's no secret. One of the reasons that we're here in Greenbrier is to create camaraderie. Now, we want that to be organic, not something forced. But how is the process going? Do you feel that there's a sense of bonding taking place with you and your defensive lineman in particular?
When you go somewhere else, it's always a sense of, locking in, focus, trying to get through things. But, when you have, others around you are going through the same thing, y'all have a sense of, we have to, bond and grow together to get through this. And that's the, point of it all. The point of coming out here is to, be better, build that camaraderie, bond as a team on and off the field. When you're spending 10, 11, 12 hours in the building, all you can see is your brother. You start to want to get to know them and know their personality, their passions, their interests. And then you spend dinners together, breakfast, all that. You can't help but to learn them and start to build a relationship. And once those things start to grow and start to mature, you realize you're really into playing for not just yourself but for them. And you want to see them prosper as much as you do.
Andrew Berry said you, Myles Garrett, and Jim Schwartz is a match made in heaven. He said that in his press conference a couple days ago. Number one, do you agree with that assessment? And if so, why?
I sure hope so.
Me too.
I mean, we have a lot of guys who have been looking to attack and get off the ball, and I think he's brought that scheme here to us, and it's a match made for most of the guys here. Being able to, at least for the back end, them line up and man and press and use their athletic gifts to really the highest level.
Yeah.
Allowing the the linebackers to fly around and punish people coming downhill through those gaps. Big, strong, athletic guys like JOK, A-Walk, and Jacob. All those guys are very athletic and are willing and ready to hit anything that's moving. And I know we have more guys back there, but
sure,
those guys. But last but not least, you have the D-line who are willing to stay on their track and go downhill. And it's not as much read and reacting. Just go, just play, stay on your track, and just attack the ball. And there's no better word you can tell a D lineman than that. And so it's a match made for really this whole defense that AB and Kevin has put together.
When you hear him talk about using a 5-man front in some passing situations, the fact that you can be inside, Za'Darius can be inside, one of the trends in the league right now is kind of overload 3 guys, put you, for example, your best pass rusher in the middle, and then they can't really double you. It creates a lot of problems for an offensive line. Is that something that excites you about maybe a little variation in what you've done in the past?
I think in the past we had a little variation like that, loading the front, left to right, and trying to get those mismatches or one-on-ones.
Sure.
But I mean, he just seems a little bit more committed to doing it more often. He's
that was a big smile there.
He's more excited about getting to those long downs, those second and longs, those third and longs, and getting those big one-on-ones because he has the confidence in our room to get those wins. And it's not just going to be me or Z. It's going to be Jordan. It's going to be Dalvin. It's going to be Obo. You have a lot of guys in our room who can win them one-on-ones and create havoc all across the field.
And one of the things that we discuss ad nauseum is this idea that when you bring in a new defensive coordinator, the jargon is going to change. It's going to be different verbiage and what takes place. But being a veteran and seeing a few defenses and coordinators come through here, how has that experience helped you adjust and acclimate to what Coach Schwartz is bringing to the table?
There's a lot of same as jargon, as you say. This is just the same as something we've used before in the past. For the younger guys, you may not have something to relate it to, but if you've been here for a year or two, you're able to start to see the similarities and start to piece it together. And that's how we as veterans can try to illustrate it and make it easier for those younger guys, those rookies, or guys from other teams. And we look forward to trying to put it all together, making it easier for everyone so they can fly around and be free on the field.
Today was a pad acclimation day. I had never heard that before. I heard it today. We saw it out here. Tomorrow will be, feels like full go in the pads. The defense has to like that. I mean, it's your first opportunity to really go out there and hit somebody that you've been around, as you said, for 12 hours a day, which has its benefits. And also, sometimes you're probably ready to go ahead and tussle with them a little bit. How excited are you to get the pads on and actually see that first practice for this team after this week here at the Greenbrier?
Well, we're all excited. We have a game coming up here soon. And we,
less than a week.
Yeah, we gotta get acclimated, as you say, to that physicality in which we want to play with and moving and playing free. You stop yourself up to a point because you don't want to go a little bit too far because you don't have pads on. You want to pull up a little bit. But tomorrow, for the most part, you can unleash it. You can let it go and you can play with your hair on fire. And as a defender, we love that kind of terminology and that kind of freedom.
And Miles, as an outsider looking in on this team, and I've covered this team for a long time, it appears to me in this training camp in particular with the defense that I'm seeing more, if we want to say it, swag, more bravado, more guys talking and poking their chest out and things of that nature. How do you feel about that? And is what I'm seeing actually what it actually is guys actually expressing themselves more on the defensive side of the ball?
I mean, that's something Schwartz brought in himself. He came in and he has swagger to him, that he has inherently. He brings out naturally, and that's something he's also preached. If you have it, show it. Don't be scared. If that's something that helps you play better or that you naturally play with, do your thing. We're not going to hold you back. We're going to take off the seat belts. We're going to take off the handcuffs, and like I keep on saying, we're going to play free. And we have a lot of guys who have the natural swagger and who can play and not let it distract them. So we're some guys will have to fake it to make it at the moment, but it'll
care to share who that is?
Me. But eventually we'll all get it going.
There are plenty of things you do out there that speak very loudly. You don't have to worry about that at all. All right, we're getting ready for the pads. I mentioned, just when you look at this football team that you've seen now, we've had a couple, I would say, high intensity practices, and hopefully tomorrow will probably be the third since we've been here. You've been on a team that's gone to the playoffs, won a playoff game. When you look around the talent, both sides of the ball, I thought that first day the defense had a great day. Second day the offense and Deshaun kind of roared back a little bit, and obviously these are passing friendly situations. But do you see the talent here, and does that make you feel, and to your peers, maybe a responsibility, like we can do something special, and we all have to commit to making sure that we execute on that?
We absolutely can do something special. We have the talent all across the board, and it's only gotten better and better each year. And right now it's probably as good as it's been since most of us have been here. And so it would be a disappointment for us if we didn't maximize the potential that we had, give our all, not only on the field but in the classroom, knowing exactly what we have to do, and make the most of this opportunity. It doesn't come along very often where you feel like every room has multiple big-time playmakers and guys behind them who can also make plays. So we're looking forward to the opportunity of getting on the field, whether it's the practice field or on the game field, to show what we can really do.
And is that a part of the conversation that you're hearing in the locker room, in the meeting rooms with your teammates, that, hey, man, we got opportunity here. Talent won't be enough, but we got to go out there and put in the work? Yeah.
I mean, almost just about every team has talent. And there are some teams who can win with less talent because they have the structure and the foundation. But when you have one at such a high level, especially talent, you can't allow technique or fundamentals to come in the way of that if you don't know what to do. And you'd be letting yourself down. You'd be remiss if you were to waste that talent that you've been given, that you've been blessed to surround yourself with, to not do the things you're supposed to do and put your best foot forward to win those reps, win those days, win those games.
And winning those games, what this season's going to be all about. And the schedule makers, I think, did us a service. Bengals right out of the gate, Steelers right out of the gate, Ravens week 4. Last year, I think we went 6-7 games, I think, before we played a division game. You're going to get 3 in the first 4, including the opener. It's a real opportunity to make a statement. And
back in 30.
What the 2023 Cleveland Browns are all about, right?
I mean, you definitely want to win division games, and the fact that you have them up so early is definitely exciting for us, definitely exciting for the fans. But every game's an opportunity, no matter who you're against. And so we have to view this as just another opportunity to put our best foot forward and show who we really are.
Absolutely. Miles, thanks so much for the time. Best of luck this season. We're excited to see you get going against those teams when these games start to count here on what should be a very exciting season for the Browns.
You're up.
Thank you.
Normally I say so much more to come. There really is. A surprise guest as well. So much more to come.
Luminary.
Training camp is you're down this weekend. Got about a minute and a half. You're up.
Well, real quick. Well, that's what we got. We got Luminaries. Coach Tarv here with us. How you doing, man?
Am I on?
Great
Yeah,
to be
you're
here
on.
again.
We're all on. We just got a couple minutes. We were talking about off the top. Did you guys get what you wanted to out of the Greenbrier, out of being down in West Virginia?
Yeah, it was awesome. Like I said when I was mic'd up, I'd never seen so many trees, but it was cool. It was isolated, and the team was around each other. It was awesome to watch everybody interact, players, coaches, everybody around. We were around each other at the start of camp, and had some great team meetings, had some great practices. It was exactly what we needed to get started.
It's awesome.
It is awesome, and I know you love ball so much. You got to be thrilled to get an extra preseason game the way they used to do it with 4 of them
Yeah, right.
coming this Thursday. How excited are you, and what do you want to see out of your guys?
Oh, I'm so excited that it's a great opportunity for young players to get better. The extra game. I really just want to see them play fast and run, shed, and tackle the guy with the ball, which is our linebacker mantra. I'm excited for our 2 rookies and some of these other guys that just to play and to show what they've been working on. But one more chance for younger guys to play and get their video out, not just for us, but for the entire league and other leagues now.
Yeah.
It's great for opportunity for everybody.
You're never a man who lacks for energy.
That's right.
The fans will be here tomorrow. That's got to be a cool thing to see our fans interacting with our players and the applause that comes with the practice.
Oh yeah, I love training camp here. I mean, I've said it before, but I love seeing our fans and how passionate they are, and to have the first practice back be open too. That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be excited about it. The guys will go. They'll be excited. They got this practice, and then the next day is less, and then they get to play. So it's fast. It's on us already, which is great.
Yeah,
it is. Great seeing you, buddy.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. It was a quick one today, but
we need you in
we'll
early.
Get more again.
Early, so we have more time. Coach
They're doing important stuff.
That's right. He's luminary. That's what happens. The next level's up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.